everyone is behind Caleb Williams. He's too talented to not succeed. It's just the question of whether this coaching staff will do enough to develop the rookie quarterback.
Part of this is on Caleb Williams, part of it is on Waldron, part of it is on other players. There's a lot to it, but at some point you have to be able to get rid of the football and not make something that's bad even worse.
Hey, we recently made a video about Caleb Williams, but things just keep getting worse with this situation. It's becoming one of the hottest debates in the NFL, and everyone's pointing fingers. Before we dive in, we've been working hard to reach 1 million subscribers, and we'd love your support. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications if you want to be part of the journey. Now, let's get into it. Mic check, 1 to 2, 1 to 2. What's going on, everybody? The story around Caleb Williams has been one of the most talked about in the NFL lately. From the start, all the way back to September 2023, he knew he was going to be the #1 pick. But let's be honest, he wasn't exactly humble about it. His dad even warned teams that not just anyone could draft his son. He also mentioned wanting an equity stake in whatever team picked Caleb. That might be ambitious, but it definitely gave off the vibe of Caleb being extremely cocky. And the comparisons to Patrick Mahomes didn't help his case either. Caleb was labeled as the next big thing, the best quarterback since Trevor Lawrence and even before him, Andrew Luck. He was seen as the perfect modern NFL QB, able to extend plays, make all the throws, and with an amazing release. But there were some red flags, especially with his maturity. Fans didn't like seeing Caleb break down in tears after a loss to Washington, and they weren't thrilled with how he seemed to stir up drama wherever he went. For example, when he decided not to work out at the combine or take medical exams, he can just keep quiet about it. He took shots at those who criticized him for being too emotional.
Yeah, there's not many people in the world that get to experience what I experience every game day, every practice day. It always kind of goes back to that for me. It's something that I only get to experience. It's something that I really care about, which is not only winning the game, but every time we lose, I feel like I let my teammates down. I said, don't play for fame. I don't play for money. So go out there and win as many games as possible, be the best that I can, and play as many games as possible at my best. I think I can reach certain points like that.
As Mike Florio and Chris Sims are practically on their knees with their mouth open for Caleb Williams, he decides to explain to them why he is declining medical exams.
And obviously, when you start doing things that's not traditional, whether you're at a school like USC,
and I support you 100%.
Yeah,
trust me.
Whether you're here at the combine that's
yeah.
been going on for I don't know how many years, but a long time.
Right.
And so, I'd say the main thing has just been, it was a decision with my family and my team, and it really came down to not all 32 teams can draft me, so I give all 32 teams.
Yeah.
My personal medical things. There's nothing there. Played all 30, how many ever games I played.
I don't even remember you being banged up like the slightest.
I've never came off the field unless my helmet came off and the ref took me off.
Right.
And so, my thing has just been, give it to the teams that are going to pursue me. So on my visits, I'll be doing medicals, but just decided not to do it here. In a sense, I, have an idea of where I'm going to go. Not the place, but the
general area of the draft.
We know the spot.
You're going in the top 2 picks. You're going #1, bro.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, you're going 1.
Look, I don't think Caleb Williams is a bad person, but when you're evaluating a quarterback, it's kind of like trying to get into a relationship. You want a partner who makes your life easier, right? Whether you're a guy or a girl, you want someone who brings positive energy. When you've got a quarterback who nitpicks everything, it doesn't exactly give off the best vibe. Now, this is just scratching the surface with Caleb. Fans didn't love the fact that he painted his nails, and honestly, my personal issue with him was when he pretended not to know who Keenan Allen was, especially with the #1 pick coming his way. But that's really the only critique I have of him. The real story here is bigger than Caleb Williams. It's about how much is on the line for the Chicago Bears in the 2024 NFL Draft. Ryan Poles and the Bears front office are riding high after pulling off a massive trade with the Carolina Panthers. How could you not feel like a genius after flipping the #1 pick for DJ Moore, the 9th overall pick, the 61st overall pick in 2023, and extra future picks? Now, Poles had a tough decision on his hands. Do you take the generational quarterback at #1, or do you stick with Justin Fields, who's never really had a chance to develop properly? When you look back, Fields never had the best coaching. In his first year, he had Matt Nagy as his head coach, and we all know how that Bears coaching cycle goes. They draft a quarterback, struggle in year 1, fire the coach, and then start over. Fields was stuck in that cycle, with Nagy getting fired and then Luke Getsy coming in. It was up and down with Getsy, but honestly, Getsy isn't even in the NFL anymore, so that tells you something. The dilemma for the Bears goes even deeper. If they stick with Fields, they've got a chance to trade the #1 pick for a huge haul. They could get multiple first-round picks and really start building a powerhouse. Or they could go all in on Caleb Williams and hope he's the guy who turns them into a Super Bowl contender. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Either way, it's hard to go wrong with the decision Poles had to make. And let's not forget, the Bears are set to have the 5th highest cap space in 2025, so they're in a great position. If Fields does show out, they can franchise tag him and keep the ball rolling. It's a big, polarizing topic, but even DJ Moore said there's no one better in the draft than Justin Fields.
What makes him not the quarterback for the Chicago Bears right now? I get y'all got everybody coming out, but it's like 2 of them. I don't think they better than Justin, so they cool.
But once Justin Fields was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the decision was made Caleb Williams was drafted in quite possibly the greatest situation that a quarterback has ever been drafted to as the #1 overall pick in NFL history. And that's not an opinion, that's fact. There's never been a quarterback that has come into a situation with 2 wide receiver ones, a solid halfback, a tight end, and another wide receiver drafted in the top 10 of the NFL draft with an upend coming in defense. There's a reason why a lot of fans pick the Bears to potentially win the NFC North, and whenever you're a player that is considered to be the most NFL ready one-center generational type prospect since Trevor Lawrence or Andrew Luck, obviously that's going to come with a lot of expectations. Ultimately, Caleb Williams has not fulfilled those expectations so far, and this is where the commentary might get a little divisive, and it really depends on who you want to ask here. There are multiple failures by the Chicago Bears front office that probably think they're God's gift to the earth because of how they swindled the Carolina Panthers. The first being their coaching staff. I'm not necessarily going to point the blame finger at Matt Eo for the offensive woes of the Chicago Bears, because that's not what Matt Eo was brought in for. Eo was brought in to coach one of the best defenses in the NFL, and so far, I guess, you could say he's doing an okay job at it. I mean, the Bears are the 13th ranked defense in the NFL right now. They've only allowed 15 touchdowns so far in the NFL, which is tied for the second fewest with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So on one hand, you could say EO is doing his job, but the offense is all falling on the shoulders of one man who I'm kind of surprised got the job, and that's Shane Waldron going into this season. Jackson Smith and Tujiva kind of warned us about Shane Waldron, who was the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks last year.
Bears fans are super interested about the offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. What can you tell them about who they just hired, try to get this offense where it needs to go?
This is live. Good luck to y'all. I mean, he's a great person, great offensive coordinator. I was very lucky to have him.
I showed you guys in the last video how crazy the difference is when you look at JSN's routes with Waldron compared to without him. Then, if you look at DJ Moore with Luke Getsy as his offensive coordinator versus when he had Waldron, it's a completely different game. Seriously, it's insane. So last week when the Bears played the Arizona Cardinals, they had a winning record against them, but there were a few things that got us worried. One was DJ Moore walking off the field in the middle of a play. Some of us thought it wasn't that big of a deal, especially since Hunter Henry did the same thing last week when Drake May threw the game-tying touchdown. But Hunter Henry was also pointing at a wide-open receiver, so I'm not sure if it was the same situation as DJ Moore's. Now, DJ Moore did shoulder check Caleb Williams. I don't want to come off as too harsh, but I don't think this is just a coincidence. DJ Moore did explain why he left the field during the play, but still, it raised some eyebrows.
Tweaked ankle. I was coming back because I seen Caleb scrambling. Ankle went in and out. I was already couldn't stop, so my momentum took me out of bounds, and then I just walked off. Which, the noise, I hear it, seen it, but he didn't care. So it is what it is.
Well, when DJ Moore was asked about Matt Eberle's job security, didn't really back him up.
Has Matt Eberflus lost his football team?
I want to say no. The message yesterday was that we know we 4-4 now. It's just like being 0-0. But you just got to go out there and start stacking wins how we did. And that's the best thing we can do is win.
There are two big reasons why you could say Caleb Williams has been performing horribly this year. And I mean horribly. He's only completing 61% of his passes, with 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. And let's not forget, he's got one of the best wide receiver corps in the NFL. No doubt, it's easily a top 5 group, and you could even argue it's a top 3 group. But still, Caleb's numbers aren't looking good, and there are 2 main reasons for that, both of which are outside of his control. First, his offensive line is terrible. Caleb Williams has been sacked 38 times so far this season, and if things keep going this way, he's on pace to be sacked 72 times this year, which would be the second most in NFL history. That's a huge problem for any quarterback. But the bigger issue? It's Shane Waldron. The plays that Waldron has been drawing up don't make any sense. Take this one play for example. Caleb Williams, who's a right-handed quarterback, is rolling out to his left. Now, I don't even know who he's supposed to throw to here. Typically, when a quarterback rolls out, they go to the right and hit the tight end in the flat for an easy 5 yards. In this case, Cole Kmet would have been wide open on that route, but for some reason, Waldron has Caleb rolling to the opposite side of the field, away from Cole. So the big question is this Caleb Williams' fault?
I'll say this, I don't think Caleb's the consensus #1 guy in the league.
At the same time, you see plays like this where Caleb Williams has a clean pocket and an opportunity to make a play, but he's just missing his wide receivers. And this isn't just one mistake, it's happened multiple times, even against the New England Patriots of all teams. Caleb was way off on his throws here. Now, don't get me wrong, the play calls weren't perfect, but there are still some throws he should be able to make, and he just couldn't connect. He was all over the place, missing passes, and it's clear he's getting happy feet in the pocket. Whether that's because he's worried about scrambling, feeling a pressure to avoid getting sacked, a lack of confidence, or just some bad mojo from Shane Waldron, it's hard to say. But it's getting worse. The body language between Caleb and his teammates looks terrible. And this is what I meant when I said I didn't want to sound like a diva with the DJ Moore shoulder check. Because then you have moments like this. Caleb gets knocked to the ground and he's waiting to be picked up. But the only person willing to help him up is literally the guy who just put him down. Then he gets a pat on the head like it's no big deal. What's going on here? Fans were even booing the Bears for losing to the Patriots. It's a bad look all around.
5-yard penalty, 4th down.
And the stats aren't helping either. Since week 7, the Bears' offense ranks dead last in several key categories. Yards per drive, offensive touchdowns per game, expected points added per dropback, completion percentage, sacks allowed per game, percentage of drives ending in a touchdown, and percentage of drives ending in a punt. You remember when Caleb Williams told his punter that they would be punting much? Well, the Bears are currently punting more than any team in the NFL. So now, the Chicago Bears find themselves in a tough spot. With a major decision to make, they have to choose between their offensive coordinator and a player who many call the next Patrick Mahomes. Who do you choose? Well, the Bears made their decision. Just recently, the team fired Shane Waldron and promoted Thomas Brown to offensive coordinator. It's a bit funny when you consider that Thomas Brown was the offensive coordinator for the 2023 Carolina Panthers, who finished a disastrous 2-15 season with Bryce Young struggling, leading to the Bears getting the #1 overall pick to select Caleb Williams. But if you pay attention to how the players are reacting, it seems like this might actually be a step in the right direction.
I want to say probably like when we want to call, or it's probably like a drive too late, or like we wanted to make adjustments and we just wait till halftime to make it, and then we don't get the same look. So I can see what he means by that, right?
It's getting a bit wild. Some Bears veterans even suggested benching Caleb Williams before Waldron was fired. According to Mark Silverman of ESPN Radio, after talking to people familiar with the situation, players approached Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles, asking them to make a change at offensive coordinator. There have also been reports from a few veteran players who wanted backup Tyson Bagent to start instead of Williams. Several Bears beat writers have confirmed this information. If this is true, it's a really bad look for the Bears, especially after they traded Justin Fields and used their #1 overall pick to draft Caleb Williams. Here's what Caleb Williams had to say about this whole situation.
No, I think those guys are, good, easy. We talk about it. I got full support from them. I've gotten texts or calls or people coming up to me, with this situation that just happened, coming up to me and saying, "We got your back, we're with you," things like that, and let's go. That kind of mindset and attitude has been what it's been this past couple days, and that's kind of what it's only been.
And a part of me wonders whether or not this report is really true.
Caleb Williams is very smart, and he's doing a lot of things at the line that other rookie quarterbacks don't do and can't do. And I feel like they gave him all that liberty to do it, and it was just too much.
Now, Thomas Brown had this to say about the situation.
Yeah, I appreciate the questions. I'm not going to go into detail about what we talked about individually, but again, it was all a positive conversation. He was receptive to it. Talked about what he can fix and be better for our offense. Clearly, obviously, quarterback spot is the most difficult position. So we got to be better all around him. But also starts with how we coach him. Being more detailed, being more demanding with just him, but also the entire staff.
How do I feel about this? Well, I'm a bit conflicted. If you look at Thomas Brown's track record, it might seem like he won't be able to turn things around. But keep in mind, he wasn't put in a good position with the 2023 Carolina Panthers. The Panthers had no offensive line, no run game, and the only weapon was Adam Thielen. Plus, they had to develop an undersized rookie quarterback. It was a disaster. Even other coaches like Dave Canales are struggling with the Panthers right now, so I don't think it's fair to judge Thomas Brown too harshly. Now I get what fans are saying about being patient with players, but Caleb Williams isn't a raw talent like Anthony Richardson or Josh Allen. Williams was expected to be ready for this challenge. If you look at his scouting report on NFL.com, it describes him as a rare playmaker with incredible escapability and an arm to challenge defenses. He can be a high-impact player on the move, but he needs to trust his eyes more and improve his accuracy. They also pointed out his tendency to play off-script and sometimes take on too much responsibility. This all seems to be happening in his NFL career now. The scouting report nailed it. Williams' issues are clear and he's showing inconsistent decision-making, overcomplicating plays, and struggling with timing and accuracy. It's disappointing because he was supposed to be a once-in-a-generation talent. But I think his biggest issue is being placed in the wrong system. He needs a situation where his talents can shine. It's ironic because Javen Daniels, who was in the opposite situation, has excelled. He doesn't have the best offensive line or weapons, but has great coaching that's helped him thrive. Do I think Caleb Williams is destined to fail? Not necessarily, but I could see him following a career path like Trevor Lawrence. The difference is, I think Trevor Lawrence would have succeeded with the same weapons in year one. Williams was placed in one of the best positions any number one overall pick has ever had, and maybe Thomas Brown can change that. But if Williams can't make the simple throws, it might not matter. What do you think? Did the Bears make a mistake? Let me know in the comments. As always, I'm Helmet to Helmet, and I'll drop the mic until next time.